Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June 3rd, 2022. Shout out to the first of the month. It's the first of the month, even though it's the third. But, close enough, right? Let's see. Let's talk about me. Um, this week wasn't the greatest week for me, let's say mentally. Other than that, it was good, but a little bit of the mopey mopes. But overall, it was good. I took a little bit of a mental health day today. Figured, hey, while I'm at it, let's go ahead and get this podcast in there. Um, Also, I ate some good food. I made it. I made chicken and waffles with bacon, and then a bacon ham turkey sandwich. So threw down a little bit. Oh, with tater tots. So yeah, we made that happen. Yes. Um, let's see, TV corner, because I actually watched a lot of TV for the vibes. Plus, it was just like new shit dropping. So yeah. Let's see. I watched my first episode of Love, Death, and Robots. I kept seeing like clips and memes, or not so much memes, but like pictures or drawings for the Jabaro episode, and it did not disappoint. Very cool. I'm gonna try to hopefully get into the series and watch like maybe just some key episodes. Since they're so random, like every episode's different, like I kind of would rather, you know, kind of crowdsource and see what's the best episodes and watch those. And then maybe if I get into the series, I'll stick to it and watch it all. Let's see what else. I need to watch Kenobi, but I'm gonna let those episodes stack up. Plus the Disney Plus isn't mine, and I don't really feel like using it sometimes. But we'll see. I'm gonna hopefully try to get into the Kenobi series because one, I like Ewan McGregor. Two, I actually love Hayden Christensen. I will say it time and time again that he was good as Vader. He was good as Anakin. Y'all just didn't like the story. Um, but yeah, gonna get into that. Let's see, what else did I watch? Stranger Things. That was big. That was big. I know that came out, I think, last week. But, I'm kind of slow to get into the TV. I figured I'd take the time to watch some stuff. Binged it all. Like 2 days, I think. Very good. Not disappointing. I kind of wanted it. I was telling someone I really wanted Stranger Things to just kind of be over at the third one. It was fine. Like, it was a good season. I just didn't really feel the need to continue anymore. Like it seemed like the kids were kind of aging out of the show. Like they're not like what I mean. They don't look like little kids anymore. They're not gonna be in high school. Like how is still gonna be in the eight? Like I don't know. It felt weird, but I will say season's very good. Loved it. Granted, this is part one. What is it? Part two comes out in July. So yeah, I'm gonna be ready for that. Um, let's see what else. I got one more thing. The Boys. I woke up this morning and then realized that The Boys had dropped. So I was like, okay, let's watch the first episode. Turns out they had that 3 episodes. So I watched all those today. Very cool. I literally like jumped out of my skin in the first like 5 minutes. Because I always hate the gore of the show, but it's just so good, and it doesn't matter how visceral it is still cool. And the scenes are just wild. So, highly recommend all of those. Go watch them. Come talk to me about it. Yeah, I'm getting back into TV. Maybe I don't know. For at least for right now. For the moods. Let's see. We talked about food. We talked about TV. Talked about me. We can get into some news now. There's a decent amount. I don't know if I'm even gonna get through all of my stuff. I mean, obviously, there's the Sunday episode, but like I don't know, some things kind of feel a little time sensitive, and I kind of want to cover it right up front. But we'll get through what we can get through today. Wanted to update on Ukraine. I think today officially marks. I believe I got this from the BBC. Is officially the 100th day of the invasion. So that's it's pretty big. Kind of like seeing where we're at. It's crazy that they've went from like saying like we all thought like okay once the invasion happened and they had gotten to Kyiv of it kind of was like really looking dark. Like we didn't know how things were gonna go. We didn't know if we were really just marching into World War III. But they failed to capture the city. Definitely seemed like things were scaling back. Definitely seemed like as well over time Russia's kind of changed how they wanted to approach this war, and it's seemingly like it's bearing fruit. I know we've talked about Mariupol lately, the Donbass region. So, I mean, with Mariupol, it's definitely not looking too great. I heard about this today from the BBC podcast that, like, they're in the situation of trying to replace the, city officials and stuff like that with, like, Russian leaning ones, or just, like, if you don't comply with what they want, then, like, there's allegedly, like, executions and stuff. So, I mean, that's not good. I've also heard of the tactic of, like, them wiping out area and then replacing that area with like Russian peoples and Russian favoring peoples, and just working with that and calling it a day. So that's kind of a fear that that's going to be the campaign across the whole eastern region. And I think Zelensky came out and said that a fifth of the country has been taken by Russia now, which is 20%. It's a big deal. I mean, Ukraine is a big area. It's a lot of space, but it is saying something when your goal is to push the Russians back, in the best case scenario, and get your territory back. So, it's definitely not looking good for the invasion in that regard. I mean, either way, obviously Russia is burning a lot of money, not making many friends, but at the same time, they aren't seeming on stopping. So, this invasion can go longer and longer and longer. There's just no really seemingly end in sight. Hopefully, peace talks will come, and, we'll be at that point someday. But, it could easily just be like a situation where it's like Palestine and Israel, and these people are just fighting and fighting and fighting, and then we're funding it and doing all this and that, trying to like buoy it because this is kind of like our proxy thing, our proxy war, if you will. But yeah, we can get into the title of this article. Sievierdonestsk mayor says Russian forces seize half of city. So kind of just, talking about the focus on the eastern half of the region. They've been making what has been called a frenzied push to seize half of Sievierdonestsk. And it's just kind of key to kind of locking up the Donbass region. Which is really sad. Let's see, they got some more stuff here. I think it's a city. It was the mayor. He said heavy street fighting continued and artillery barrages threatened the lives of the estimated 13,000 civilians still sheltering in the ruined city that once was home to more than 100,000. Also, it said that some Russian airstrikes hit a tank of nitric acid at a chemical factory, and this caused like huge fumes. There's been a lot of damage in the region. It definitely seems like at the end of the day, Russia really doesn't care about like maintaining any of the infrastructure. If they have to level an area, they'll do it if they can take it. It's about claiming it, which is really hard then, for the Ukrainians, because you're naturally trying to defend this position, but at the same time, if they are focusing this hard on it, then you really do have to start thinking about, well, we should retreat. We should refocus and maybe try to hold up in other areas. Maybe in time we can come back to try to take it, but there's just not a point in really wasting. Now, granted, of course, it's not like I'm some military strategist. I'm just kind of speculating and going off of what I hear. Let's see. That's more or less what I wanted to talk about there in terms of on the ground stuff. Let's see some other news. U.S. sends rocket systems to Ukraine to stall Russian advance. Let's see. The U.S. on Wednesday unveiled a new. Also, I got this from Yahoo News. Both of them. The other was AP. Both AP. Yeah. The U.S. on Wednesday unveiled a new $700 million package of sophisticated weapons for Ukraine, in an urgent effort to prevent Russia from seizing the final swaths of land in the Donbass region. It'll take about 3 weeks. Let's see. They didn't specify the amount of rockets they gave, like the missiles, but I think they gave like 6 of the systems. and I believe they're like medium range. I think initially there was talks of like the Ukrainians wanted longer range weapons because that's what Moscow is using, and they're pretty much able to, since it's like right on their border, like they're just able to fire in there and just rain like hailfire on Ukraine, on the areas Ukraine they're trying to hit, and there's not much that the Ukrainians really do to combat that. So this is hopefully going to be something that helps. They wanted something that was going to be a little bit more long range, I believe, but I guess the administration, whatever, was just like, well, we don't want to they once again kind of did the thing where they're like trying to compromise so they're not quote unquote fueling World War III, but you're still giving away weapons like this. Naturally, Russian officials were not like stoked about this. But yeah, let's see. They call it the HIMARS system. And it does require training, obviously, to use it. It's not something you can just pick up and use from some quick tutorial, like a YouTube situation. So they had to be trained, which is also an issue too, where it's like you have to, get the equipment to these people, or get the people to the equipment one way or another to learn how to use it, then send the equipment to them. Then, the people can train more people, hopefully. And I mean, it's just a whole time thing. And when you're in a situation where you're constantly in battle, I can imagine that's not easy. It's a lot of juggling. And they're constantly needing more and more weapons. So, I mean, I'm sure this isn't going to be the last of the support packages that we're going to be sending. I'm sure this is going to be a long, ongoing thing. But just wanted to cover it, give a little update, And then last but not least, for the Ukraine-Russia stuff, I got this from the NPR. The EU will block most Russian oil imports as Hungary's Orban fights off a total ban. So essentially, long story in this article, this is our 6th sanction package. It is more or less going to stop 90% of the oil that is being shipped, I believe, between, obviously America's more or less tried to cut theirs off and wean theirs down. But like from the EU, this is more or less focused for that. So by the end of the year, 90%. Now, the 10% that's going to be remaining is still going to be oil that's going to be shipped to Hungary. And that's more or less a holdout clause for Orban. He is a president who just got recently reelected, a Putin ally, a very staunch conservative. I listened to, I believe, a Vice article where he did it's like a Republican convention. I should remember. I guess like kind of like a CPAC or something like that. But like a big Republican thing. Donald Trump has talked there, big Republican names. But they held it in Hungary specifically for Orban because Orban has kind of like created this cult of personality in a way to kind of say like, hey, I am fighting for Christian conservative values. I'm like anti-gay, all the kind of stuff that people kind of want to hear in terms of certain populist rhetoric. It really gasses him up. And he just kind of holds it down. And he is a part of the EU, but he's definitely like one of those sticky members where it's like he might have his hands kind of in both like jars, both pockets, if you will. But also too, he gets 60% of his oil from Russia. So I mean, it is just a simple matter of numbers. It's as much as I don't like the guy, I do kind of at least see that aspect of it. Like, why are you burning out money on something that war that's not yours? But that being said, definitely going against the grain with that. So yeah, that about wraps that up. If you go on there, you definitely see a little bit more of the protest pictures and stuff like that. Let's see. Moving on to China. I got this from the BBC. China sends 30 warplanes into Taiwan air defense zone. So I'm kind of using this article as a little bit of a patch. I didn't talk about Biden's visit to some Chinese countries. He, made a little bit of a tour, said a lot of stuff. One of the big things he said, he was asked about if China made a move on Taiwan to, actually, become whole, to unify, what would you do? And he said, I would take action. And that was like a really bold thing to say because, we're supposed to maintain this kind of ambiguity. Like, we're supposed to kind of be like very vaguely like, open about what we will do to defend Taiwan, and it's not really supposed to be actually anything physical in the military sense, but we are just supposed to kind of be helping. But Biden's statement really kind of made it seem like he was down to fight, down to put boots in the ground. His administration team definitely kind of came out and said, hey, no, it's not like that. We're definitely just, we're maintaining we're sticking to the script. And China was not happy to hear this. So I guess one of their kind of maybe tit for tats is they sent fighter jets into this kind of, it's not a no-fly zone, but it's a zone that they're not supposed to be in. But it's definitely something that they've balked before. They have a chart on here from the BBC article, and it kind of shows the ebbs and flows. And let's see, in January 2021, it seemed like in the middle of the month, they made a big spike there. You can see it again a little bit in April, looks like a little bit. Then also it seems like in September, there was a lot of incursions, at least post-September 2021. And, you see the chart kind of go up and down. So you see them kind of just playing around with it, letting them know that they're there almost in a way, kind of showing their superiority. We've talked about them doing this in terms of running their drills with their Navy, their ships and stuff. So it's not really new, but, just something I kind of want to talk about and bring up. I still personally don't think they're going to make any kind of big, bold moves anytime soon. I think with the Russia-Ukraine thing, it's not actually the vibe that China wants to put out, that hey, we're making Axis moves type shit. But at the same time, they're not going to be put off or dismayed. Let's see. I wanted to do some updates about some of the big shootings. Let's see. We have the Buffalo supermarket gunman. He is indicted on terror hate charge. So, this was the shooting in Buffalo where 10 people were killed at the Top supermarket. The shooter in this situation, he had a head mount cam. He was doing a live stream of it. This was planned. He had a little manifesto he posted right before. So, in New York, though, there's no death penalty. So most likely they're just going to, get him for life, if he's convicted, which I'm thinking he will. But they might add on more charges or whatever. Let's see what they say in this article. But adding a state terrorism charge could carry an additional emotional resonance and help authorities send a message about violence extremism. So, I don't believe in the death penalty. I do think it's something that you should just get rid of. I think a life in prison is really shitty and hard enough as it is. And you'd argue even more so than just getting it easy out. And also, just the way that the death penalty is always carried out, no matter how you go about it, is always barbaric. But I do understand trying to maximize this situation and, really getting the harshest charge you can in this situation, because what he did was just evil. There's no other way around it. As well as the other story we're gonna cover, back to Uvalde. Got this from ABC News. Uvalde Police School District no longer cooperating with Texas probe of shootings. Sources. So I'll start with the opener here. The Uvalde Police Department and the Uvalde Independent School District Police Force are no longer cooperating with the Texas Department of Public Safety's investigation into the massacre at Robb Elementary School and the state's review of the law enforcement's response. Multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC. The Uvalde police chief and a spokesperson for the Uvalde Independent School District did not immediately respond for requests of the ABC News. So it seems like kind of the last thing they really had was the interview. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm sorry. It's Steve something. Yeah, Steve McCraw. He more or less said that, their entry into the classroom their non-entry. Instead of saying they demoted the situation from an active shooter to a barricaded shooter, and they didn't make it. There was 19 men outside the door. Kids were texting, calling 911. There's even also a situation I haven't been able to get it verified, but I've heard this story multiple times where a police officer told one of the killers, yelled out to the room to say, hey, if you're okay or you're alive, whatever, I guess, yell help. And they did. And then the shooter actually saw that and shot another kid. It is one of those things where a lot of people are kind of tossing the blame around, pointing fingers. And, I think it's really fucking disgusting. Something I did learn is there's a chain of command that's a little bit different when it comes to campuses and a lot of situations when it comes to police forces, statewide. In this situation, there's a school police chief, and there's 6 or so police officers, I believe, that, report directly to this person, and he's the chain of command and kind of trumps other forces and law agencies in these moments. And I think it's said that he allegedly didn't have his phone on during parts of the massacre, it was off. That, they were just kind of following protocol, but it's not really sure who exactly made the call. And then, there was FBI on the scene. There was, like I said, other law enforcement agencies, and they weren't able to make the move until I think some of them might have just said, fuck it, and made the move because they were waiting for SWAT. Also, there's been blame pointed at the teachers. Allegedly, the door was malfunctioned or it wasn't locked, or there was a rock that was propping it open. That's been later debunked, where it's on camera, where it's okay, the door was propped open for a second and then it was later closed. So that shouldn't have been an issue. It's really sad too, because I can see this kind of situation unfolding, sadly, in a weird kind of Sandy Hook way, where you get all of this misinformation, if you will, and people latch on to whatever story they want, and that's the narrative. And you just kind of spiral it, and we wind up talking about this instead of that. And that can be a big issue. I think, too, especially because it's how do we go forward from this? I try not to be a reactionary person either way on issues like this, but I do feel like it's definitely had me thinking, with this and the other one. I think last time I checked, and they define this as if you shoot 4 or more people, it's a mass shooting. So this year alone, it's been over 200, and I know for it's certain, it's over 226 mass shootings just this year. And I know there's so many people out there that's well, you can't ban guns. You ban guns, just banning guns for the bad guy or the good guys. The bad guys will always have guns. They'll get guns. I don't know. There's a part of me that really doesn't believe that. I think that's just something that we say so that we don't keep trying to fight this issue, and we don't keep trying to fight with people who are well, these are my rights and yada, yada, yada. At the same time, I do also think that you are going to have a hell of a time fighting against the people who do want their guns. And I think it is okay to have a handgun, things like that. I just don't think that you need to, at the age of 18, even have an AR-15. Honestly, and you can boost the age of 21, but then what? Then college kids are going to be doing the shootings, or then some? There's another shooting in a hospital in Tulsa. I don't know if I really want to cover the details, but I believe he killed I think 3-4 people. It said that the main focus for him was the doctor, because he was having back issues and pain issues, and I guess the doctor couldn't help him. This shit goes on and on and on. Meanwhile, we have been arming teachers. I know it's something that we've been doing in Ohio. It's not new. I'm sure we're only going to do more of it. I don't know. Also, the logic of making a gun box and then having certain teachers that you don't know, it's an unknown thing, but they'll have access to said gun box, and there'll be fully loaded weapons in there, just hanging out. Just gotta open it. Now, granted, I mean, it's not an easy thing. I think it's like a lock code and like, you know, fingerprint thing, whatever. But still, that's a scary notion, man. I don't know. I do believe, and the thing that sucks too is it's not like you can just whip up one law and then you'll fix it. Like I said before in a previous episode, where the one gun ban that we had, it was good. I think it did a lot of good things. You could see it in statistics, but it didn't do enough. I think you really do have to go with like the Swiss cheese approach and really get a lot of laws that kind of are maybe quote unquote light, but really do something, like the red flag laws, like the background checks. And you really got to come up with more things like that and really stack them. But the more that happens, the more the conservatives are going to fight for it. Hell, sometimes it's not even just conservatives. I have plenty of friends, varying backgrounds and political affiliations, that support gun ownership. And I get it. I'll say it again. I don't hate guns. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a guy who's been shooting. I would probably go shooting again. But that being said, I do get the fear of guns. I've shot them, and it's one of those things where like I do it for a day. I want to put that shit down, and I really want to do it for a while, for real. And also, it is a scary thing to think about. I mean, once again, another story I didn't cover. Locally, there was a shooting at it's called Bridgewater area. It's like Fairfield Township. I don't know why I'm getting so specific, but I mean, hey, this is news. But there was a person who was shoplifting. He shot and killed a security guard and a customer who was trying to, like, you know, help out and stop the situation. And crazy shit. I mean, that's an area, that's a Walmart I've been to. That's an area I've been to. You know, I went there to get some, you know, little hoochie daddy shorts. So, I mean, it's stuff that it does sit into your mind when these acts of violence happen, and you don't want to get caught up in it. And that's the fear. That's the terror part. That's our own backyard. That's not some country far, far away. It's not Ukraine. That's not, you know, I don't know. It's not Gaza Strip. It's here. So I do feel like doing something is good. And I don't think the Ohio approach that we have is really great. I don't think the Texas approach is really great. I think doing more is always going to be better. But yeah, I mean, that's my little rant. That's my little spiel on guns. Now let's talk BTS, baby. I got this from the BPR. No, I'm sorry. The NPR. K-pop stars BTS went to the White House to talk about the anti-Asian hate crimes. I just thought this was cute. I love when like our, musicians, big names do these White House appearances. And this one's even cooler because it's for a good message. We've had a lot of hate in our country against Asian people. We've covered on this podcast. So it is cool to see crazy moments on the internet, like on Twitter. And like, I'll just see like a BTS member like come out with a tweet, and they're like, all of a sudden BTS fans are crazy. I'm just going to say it. Crazy in good ways, crazy and bad. And this way, a good way. But like, I remember during like, there was some like BLM stuff that was happening last year, and BTS like made some tweets, started some movements to like flip the script on some hashtags, and that shit was really cool. So they definitely, in my opinion, deserve to be in the White House. Seeing Biden welcome them in, I got a quick shot of it when I was at work. He did like the grandpa welcome. I don't know if you've ever seen this, where like you beckon people inside your home from the steps, and like you're welcoming with both hands. I don't know why that made me laugh, but it's just like that's old people behavior, and I was like, that's great, that's wholesome. So they did a presser. They got a good quote from Suga, one of the members. It is not wrong to be different. Equality begins when we open up and embrace all of our differences, which I fucking agree with. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for the episode. I know there's definitely going to be more. I will for sure cover the Depp, Amber Heard, verdict. I know that dropped, and I was like, I'm itching to talk about it for sure. But I think I'll save it for the next episode. Probably gonna be on Sunday. So yeah. Until then, I will see you later. Actually, I'm gonna end it on the the classic format, the classic way, on a break. Okay. So if you could, I got a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Check that out. Throw $1, any amount helps. $5 will get you Discord access. Also get you a shout out on the podcast. So that's pretty cool. I'll say your name. I'll talk about maybe an issue you want to talk about, or just, tag whatever thing you're doing, whatever. Let's see, gmail.com/IsaiahNews1 is the way to reach me if you'd like. Also, I got socials if you'd like to find those on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. So yeah, I will see you soon for some more good news, I hope. I love you guys. Bye-bye. Mwah.